Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Coach RX sending this video. And this video, I want to focus a lot on how to deal with stress, probably in a way that a lot of people don't think to deal with when it comes to stress. And when we think about stress, you know, there is a physical sensation, there's a mental sensation, there's an emotional sensation, sometimes it's spiritual. But I don't know about you all. For me, my physical sensation, I get tense in like my shoulders, and I actually sometimes have to constantly tell myself to relax my shoulders because of my tension. When I get tense, it does that. I know another physical sensation is like to my stomach when I get stressed out, it's like cramping or it's very tight. you know Mentally, I go down this road of beating myself up, and I don't know if you all have ever been in that situation where, like, literally you get stressed out, and then you look at why you're stressed out, and then you get upset with yourself because you are stressed out, and then you get upset for the reason that you're stressed out. And there's so much going on with everything that's happening around that. And there's been a lot of different things that I've experimented with, and sometimes some of those things, they work very well, and some of those things, they don't, because I need to dig a little deeper. Because sometimes the stresses that I deal with are something, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, I travel the country, and I work with school, whether it's students, staff, faculty, parents, even working with the community as well. And sometimes in that, like, some of my, like, I can tell you now, one of my biggest stresses in my business is travel. And especially post pandemic, there has been a lot of, cancellations, delays. I know in the year 2022, with things kind of getting back to normal around COVID, I think in the year 2022 alone, I experienced more delays and cancellations than I have in 1 year than the span of my career of almost 10 years. And when I tell you that type of stress, it's something because you're stressing about, okay, you've delayed my flight. Am I going to make my connection? Am I going to get to my client on time? If I don't get to this airport, is there another airport that I can go to? What is something else that I can consider? Like, it's just so many different things. And the levels of stress can get like out of hand, can get out of pocket. And sometimes, even traveling wise, when things are flowing smooth, um, with regards to the flights and everything, it may be things as simple as people who are on the flights or people who are traveling for the first time, or they're stressed out and just kind of experiencing all of that. And because I'm an empath and I pick up energy from so many, like, I try not to, but it's like literally I could pick up on the energy in the room. And because of that, like, there's just so many different ways. But I bring that up to say, in those moments of stress, there is one practice that I have, especially if it's like at the end of the night after my travel, it's been horrible, it's hard to go to sleep. I just want to eat because, like, I am so emotional. I just need to taste something good. Um, and what that one thing is that I've learned to start to use as a tool is the tool of gratitude. And a lot of people are like, well, how could you be grateful for all the stuff that went down? How could you be grateful for your flights being delayed? How could you be grateful for missing your training with a client? How could you be grateful for that? And you know what? It is a practice in which, I look at the worst of the situation, and I'm grateful that I didn't have the worst of the situation. You know, So I'll give you an example. Starting out in my career, like, literally, I walked away from a law firm that I worked for. They were very good to me, very good pay, but because there was such a fire lit in me of wanting to do this work with leadership training and development with students, and I just have an affinity for working with students because I feel like they're more open to learning new things. They're willing to try new things, and so taking it to that level, starting out my career, like, I walked away from the full time. I got my final check with all my vacation pay, and then I was like, "Oh, This is the last of the money I'm about to see in a minute. This is kind of scary. And it was. And just to be real, like my first year as an entrepreneur, people look at where I am now. They're like, oh my God, you spoke in front of 10,000 people. Oh my God, you're training educators around the globe. Oh my gosh, you go to Bermuda, you're international. And all of that is great. But what a lot of people didn't see was that first year. And in that first year, like literally, after getting the last check, I paid my bills as best as I could. I did what I could. And then there was no money coming in. I ended up 3 months behind on rent. I ended up like different things were cut, cable was cut off, different things were starting to be cut off within, my apartment. My electricity was cut off. And during this time, like I'm working to try to meet new people, meet clients, and all of this and that other. And my electricity was cut off. Thankfully for my neighbor, it was like a fourplex, and he and I were on the top, and he allowed me to run an extension cord from my apartment to his apartment, so I could be on my laptop, so I could be, you know, sending emails and still contacting people. And so that was a tough time. And did I get a break? I did. It was like 8 months later, but I did get that break. But here's how this all ties in when it comes to gratitude. When I have dealt with flights being delayed, flights being canceled, my gratitude goes towards that first year and say, I remember the first year I couldn't afford to always fly somewhere. I would literally have to take like a Greyhound, sometimes across the country, just to get to a speaking engagement, just to get the money to be able to travel back. So I wasn't always flying. In those moments where you know, the hotels are acting up or whatever, and this and the other. I go back to a moment where, like, literally, I would sleep in an airport overnight just to literally get up, go to the bathroom, wash up, and then go ahead to my client, do what I needed to do, and come back because I simply couldn't afford to stay in a hotel overnight. There were times when, I couldn't even afford like a rental car or something like that. So I was trying to figure out ways to get to people. So in those moments when I get super stressed out, my tool is leaning towards gratitude. And when you lean towards gratitude, it shifts the energy within you because when you're stressed, that energy is very, but when you start to focus on things that you can be grateful for, it starts to open things up. It starts to shift the energy within yourself. And here's the thing, I'm a firm believer in law of attraction. And not everyone is, but I say this, a lot of people say law of attraction is focusing on what you want, focus on what you want, focus on what you want. For me, and other people have said, like, law of attraction is not that. Yes, you want to be clear about what you want. Yes, you can focus on that, but really, law of attraction is you attract what you are, who you are being in that moment. So if I'm very static and so much is going on and I'm putting that energy out there, I'm going to continue to attract things that keeps that staticness up. Yeah, I just made up a word, staticness, okay? But it keeps that word, or it keeps that energy flowing and going. But when you shift into gratitude and you start to shift your energy, and for me, when I start getting in a state of gratitude, being grateful for things that are just kind of right off the cuff, I'll start asking myself, what else can I be grateful for? What else can I be grateful for? What else can I be grateful for? Because in those moments, I start looking for things to be grateful for versus staying in the frame and the mindset of being stressed out. So that's something I want to offer to you. Like when you get stressed out and things gets like really off the charts hard, like start to ask yourself, what could you be grateful for? And it may be something. It's look. Maybe if you're in my situation, it's not about being stressed out about like the flights and stuff, and all of that is breaking down. And you're like, nope, I don't want to be grateful for that. Okay, so what about that cup of coffee? Was it good? Was it good? Did it taste good? Did someone smile at you? Were you able to stand in a food line without waiting so long? Like there is always something to be grateful for. The thing is, we get to do the work in those stressful moments to continue to look for something to be grateful for. And when you do that, your energy changes and it starts to attract more. So that's all I got for y'all today. Love y'all. This is Coach Arik, and I will holler at y'all soon.